We just got a bunch of Kamen Rider Gotchard news, and oh my goodness, there is so much to talk about. First off, first impressions. This series is pretty much if Kamen Rider Wizard and Kamen Rider Fourze had a baby, and they created Kamen Rider Gotchard. And just straight off the bat, I feel like this series is going to be taking a lot of elements from a casual rider series. Think of series such as Kamen Rider Wizard, which at the beginning there really wasn't any stakes, but hopefully towards the end of the series there will be some climactic event similar to the Sabbath. Now what I do imagine is that every single one of these characters in this cast is going to be a rider at some point in the story. Now, if it's going to be soon rather than later, that's anybody's game. But I imagine that by the end of the series, they are definitely going to all be riders. Now, what I imagine is that this series will definitely get some sort of hate or backlash from the fan base just because we're coming off of the highs and highs of Kamen Rider GEATS. And also, the card mechanic here just... it isn't it. I'm gonna be honest, I'll probably buy at least one booster box, but besides that, I'm personally not gonna be picking them up. Now, I might pick up individual cards, but besides that, it's just there. But as for the gimmicks, we do have some rings, and these rings are pretty damn cool, actually. I don't think I'm gonna pick any up personally, just because they're so small and they'll easily be lost and everything. Now, one of my friends did mention to me that this show actually does take some inspiration from another card game, being Temtem. Now, if you know anything about Temtem, it's basically a Pokemon ripoff. This is kind of the Pokemon equivalent of Kamen Rider. But enough about first impressions, let's get into the cast. First off, we have our main character being Houtarou Ichinose, who is Kamen Rider Gotchard. Houtarou is a second-year high school student who goes to a private school and isn't really good at school, but is good at sports. He helps his mom out with the restaurant and everything, and he creates recipes of his own. And he has no clue what he actually wants to do with his life, but finds it through being Gotchard. Now, one thing that we did learn is that Gotchard is going to have a wild form. Now, what this wild form will be is essentially a non-human form for Kamen Rider Gotchard. So we saw this in the GEATS movie with Mad Pirates, and that is essentially what this is going to be. And lastly, Houtarou wants to befriend all the Chemys. Now, my first impressions of him is that he's going to be a more down-to-earth Fourze. Not that Fourze wasn't down-to-earth to begin with, just a go-lucky kid who just wants to have fun. And we also have our female lead being Rinne Kudo, and she's a classmate of Kamen Rider Gotchard. But she's also a part of a secret alchemy school, which is underneath the school. And she also has a bad relationship with her dad, who actually stole something from the school 10 years ago and is absent in her life. But of course, we have to talk about Valvarad. Now, Valvarad's name is Spanner Kuragane, and he is going to be the rival for Kamen Rider Gotchard. Now, his classification is actually not a Kamen Rider, but a Common Warrior. Now, can we just talk about how, like, that is such a hard name? Like, that name goes hard. Common Warrior. Now, he's going to be similar to Mashin Chaser or Dark Rogue, but he's an A-class graduate from the school. He's also hunting for the Chemys, but instead of wanting to befriend them, he wants to basically use them as tools. Think of characters like Paul from Pokemon. Up next, we have Rinne Icho. She's an alchemist from the Kansai region, and she's also in the same class as Rinne. She comes from a poor family and is also a cheap individual. And just like a scalper, she is selling Chemy Cards to Houtarou. Up next, we have Sabimaru Suhara, and he's a smart shut-in alchemist who is also a classmate with Rinne. He carries around a tablet that has an AI on it, and he has a soft spot for Chemys. But up next, all you Naruto fans, we have Minato. Not that Minato, but Minato. But anyways, he's a history teacher who also teaches at the alchemy school, and when he switches to become an alchemist, he becomes a cool, mysterious character. For me, I think this character has to be the rumored Kamen Rider legend, but that's just a theory, a Toku theory. That was so cringe. But up next, we have our cult member of the group, Ryu Kajiki. Now, he is very much into the supernatural, and he even reads a manga called Supernatural Planet. And that's pretty much all we know about him. Now, of course, we also have Hotarou's mom. Yes, our main character has a mom, and her name is Tamami Ichinose. And she runs a restaurant that Houtarou actually works at as well, and her husband is an adventurer that's abroad. Maybe, just saying, that character could come back. I don't know. Maybe, just speculation. But lastly, for our heroes, we have Fuga Kudo. And of course, she's Rinne's dad. He's pretty much the goats of the alchemist. And he disappeared 10 years ago after something happened at the school and a ride Chemy was stolen. And he's no longer in Rinne's life, but instead he was protecting the world from the three sisters of darkness. And he's also the one that gives Houtarou the Gotchadriver. And I also read somewhere that he hit a bunch of drivers hidden around the area, so we'll definitely be seeing more riders, hopefully, in the series. We're just going to get attached to our main rider probably first. It will be similar to how Revice was. But next we had to bring up the three Dark Sisters, or the three Sisters of Darkness, whatever you want to fucking call them. But they're based off of the Greek mythology of fate and all that type of stuff. Their names being Lachesis, Atropos, and then Croto. I actually had to read those off because I'm not gonna remember them. But Lachesis is the youngest of the three, and she specializes in dark alchemy that controls will, and she controls it through using a mouth harp. I don't know how that's gonna work, but okay. Up next we have Atropos, who is the oldest, and she also takes the child form. I don't know why, but okay, she's cool. And she's apparently the strongest of the three, and she's trying to go after the Gotchadriver and the 101 Chemys. And then lastly we have Croto, and the only information that we got about her is that she's a physical fighter. But that wraps up every single one of our characters. So the last bit of information that we did get is that Backon is going to be doing the opening theme for the series. And if you know who they are, they've done series such as Fairy Tail's opening 16 theme, and they also did the chair theme, which is Keiwa's theme in Kamen Rider GEATS. And let's be honest, I'm actually excited because I actually do like Backon. I think that they're one of the better bands in Japan, and I listen to them almost every other day. But lastly, I want to go into predictions, and my first prediction is that everybody in this series will become a writer at some point. Now, that's of course a no-brainer. I mean, every Reiwa series since then has had a main cast member be a writer, and I mean, the only series that I can recall that's like that would be Kamen Rider Saber. It just had Mei as a little side character, but everybody else that was important to the show was a writer. And of course, she also had Sumire in Kamen Rider GEATS, but she did have a main role with the whole goddess aspect of her character. And to tie that back in, I do believe that Valvarad will become a writer, just like how Dark Rogue and Kamen Rider Build did. You know, maybe midway through the series, he'll become the quote-unquote secondary writer. I mean, he's already, I believe, the secondary writer, but I believe he'll become a writer by the end of the series. And lastly, I do believe that Fuga will be having a major role in this series as a sort of, I guess, mysterious character, but he'll also be like, oh, hey, there's a driver right over here that you can go and pick up and all of that. But I feel like he'll have a major role somehow in this story. But if you guys want to see more Kamen Rider Gotchard content or just tokusatsu in general, let me know down in the comment section below. And while you're down there, go ahead and smash that like button down below. And don't forget to comment as well. It does help out the algorithm and gets this channel boosted, and it helps me out a lot. And without further ado, I'm going to get the heck out of here. I'm FalPlays, and I'm out. Peace. If you guys want to see more high quality videos often, please consider go ahead and becoming a YouTube member. It helps me out, and it makes it to where you guys get early access to videos and possibly getting channel emotes. These videos take a lot of time and effort, so allowing myself to have that extra time, it just allows videos to come out sooner and to look better as well.